Hey everyone. You know that feeling escaping into the woods, that fresh air, the trees? It's like a reset button.
Yeah.
But lately I've been thinking forests are more than just a retreat. They're crucial, especially with climate change and everything.
Yeah.
It got me thinking about foresters and wow, this career is way cooler than I thought.
It's true. People think it's just planting trees, but
Right?
it's so much more now.
Exactly. We're doing a deep dive into this career using RoleCatcher's platform. They have this awesome guide for becoming a forester with insider insights and surprising trends. So if you want to know about managing forests, get ready.
It's fascinating how this field has evolved. It's not just trees anymore, it's science, economics, even diplomacy.
Okay, so what do foresters actually do? They're like forest doctors, keeping them healthy and productive. They analyze satellite data, work with landowners and timber companies. What a dynamic office.
Right. And remember carbon sequestration.
Mhm.
Foresters are on the front lines, figuring out how forests can capture and store carbon, fighting climate change.
Yeah.
Imagine that impact.
Incredible. And Rollcatcher gave an example of foresters working on carbon offset projects. Companies invest in sustainable forestry to balance their carbon footprint.
It shows how the field is changing. It's not just managing trees, but balancing economic needs with environmental responsibility. They think about biodiversity, soil health, long-term sustainability, huge responsibility.
Makes you realize what's behind those peaceful walks in the woods. We enjoy nature, but it's thanks to the hard work of foresters.
Mm.
And speaking of hard work, Rollcatcher doesn't hide the challenges. Physical demands, hazards, irregular schedules. Not your typical 9 to 5.
You need to be adaptable, okay with mud, and truly passionate about the outdoors,
Yeah.
if you want this. It's not just about being tough, though. The guide talks about how much strategy and analysis matters.
Yeah, they're like data-driven environmentalists,
Yeah.
which makes sense to manage something as complex as a forest.
Exactly. And you need to be a good communicator. Those different people involved, like policymakers, landowners, and the
Mm.
public foresters, are the bridge between them.
Right.
They explain complex issues, build consensus, see different sides.
It's like speaking multiple languages at once. Science, economics, even community engagement. No wonder this career is so rewarding. You're not just stuck behind a desk, you're making a difference.
And speaking of making a difference, this is a good time to talk about the career path. RoleCatcher shows all the steps, and it's more diverse than you'd think.
It is. I always thought you get a forestry degree and head straight to the woods. But there's urban forestry, managing trees in towns.
Which is important now as more people see how good green spaces are in urban areas.
Right. And some specialize in forest fire management, using controlled burns and such to prevent massive wildfires.
Like detectives for nature, figuring out these ecosystems and how to deal with climate change.
What about people who study tree diseases? I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, yeah. They're like disease ecologists for the forest, trying to understand outbreaks and how to protect the trees.
That's so cool. There are even foresters in policy work, influencing laws and advocating for good practices.
It's all connected. You might start for conservation and end up influencing national policy.
So say someone's listening and wants to start. What do they do?
RoleCatcher says usually a bachelor's degree. You'd think just forestry, right?
Yeah.
But a background in environmental science, biology, even geography is really useful.
It makes sense. It's not just trees, but the whole system.
Exactly. On top of that, you need experience, internships, volunteering, anything to get real-world practice.
Because no amount of reading can replace actual field work and learning from experienced foresters.
Totally. That's where the certified forester credential comes in. It's proof you have the knowledge and experience.
The official stamp of approval, you've put in the time, mastered the skills, and are ready for this career.
And speaking of challenges, some skills surprised me, things you don't expect in forestry.
Oh yeah, this part of the guide was interesting. I knew science and data were important, but they also talk about communication, problem solving, even active listening.
Which are all super important. You're always talking to different people, landowners, officials, scientists. You have to explain things well, build relationships, find solutions.
A scientist, diplomat, and nature enthusiast, all in one.
Right. That leads to another crucial thing, adaptability.
Definitely. Weather, pests, regulations, always changing.
And technology. Drones, remote sensing, changing how foresters work.
You need to be ready to learn, adapt, and embrace new tech.
It's about that growth mindset, leaving your comfort zone and embracing the unknown.
And speaking of the unexpected, let's talk about job interviews. Getting that forestry job takes more than a resume and loving trees, right?
For sure, RoleCatcher nails this part. They have a whole section on interview prep
Yeah.
with tips specifically for aspiring foresters.
Which is great because interviews are nerve-wracking enough.
Yeah.
What insider knowledge do they give?
Well, they don't just list basic questions. They have guides on how to answer, highlight experience, and share passion, like a pocket career coach.
Amazing. It's not just what you know, but how you convey it.
Yes. They even give tips on researching the company, understanding their needs, and tailoring your answers. It's about showing you're not just after a job, but a chance to make a difference.
So, like, what kind of questions should people expect? I'm really curious now.
Okay, imagine this. You're facing a panel of experienced foresters, maybe policymakers too,
Yeah.
and they ask, how will tech, like drones and remote sensing, change forestry in the future?
Ooh, good one. So it's not just knowing the tech itself,
Right.
but its impact too.
Exactly. Or they might ask, tell us about a time you had to balance competing priorities on a project. How'd you handle it?
Oh, tricky.
They want to see your problem solving in action.
It's like they're seeing how you'd face those real-world challenges we talked about.
Exactly. That's why RoleCatcher's guidance is so good. They don't just give questions, but the tools to answer in a way that shows your skills, experience, and passion.
Like a secret weapon for your interview. You know, it's funny. We started thinking about peaceful forests, but it's actually challenging ADD rewarding.
The perfect mix for the right person. You make a difference, tackle big issues, always learning. Not just a job, a calling.
Totally. So for anyone feeling that pull, that urge for a career, connecting them with nature and impact, check out RoleCatcher's full guide. It's like a crash course in forestry, from the latest advancements to the nitty-gritty of success.
It's a great resource whether you're just starting or about to send out resumes and ace those interviews.
So if you're ready to ditch the cubicle for hiking boots and making a real difference, this is just the start. Go explore those paths, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one managing those forests we love. Until next time, happy exploring.